Oh, look who found the new calendar invite. Hey, gang. I think we're just getting used to the new link still. So give folks a minute or so to jump on. Lukash, how you doing, man?
Hello, hello.
Hey, hey.
No, I'm okay. Everything's fine.
Nice. How are your holidays?
I mean, like my holidays.
Yeah, your holidays. I don't think I've talked to you since the new year.
There's like nothing really, going on.
That's better than bad things happening,
Oh, that's at least that's a good thing. You don't need any extra worries.
Yeah, yeah.
I think we have to update a link on Discord because people are going to the wrong place.
Yeah, that's what
Already on it.
Dave. Yeah, thanks, Lukash. We have to update all the links on X too. I scheduled tweets for the next year and I have to go
Oh,
update all the
no.
links. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. It'll be
How are you doing, Jenny?
It won't take too long. I'm okay. How are you doing?
Good, good.
Great. Hope everyone else is doing well too.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, looks like everyone from my team is here. I think Paula is not going to make it today, so it's just me, Guillermo, Drew. Okay, so we can kick off with the deck if you all are ready.
Yeah, yeah, go for it. Welcome back to call for Tuesday, the 20th of January, 2026. Go ahead, Jenny.
Okay, thank you. All right, so we're back with another X Space event this week. Don't forget, we've moved them to bi-weekly in 2026. So there was no space last week, but this Friday, January 23rd at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, our discussion topic is AI controlling us? With Sapien, OpenLedger, Public AI, Lazai Network, and Gloria AI. And then we do not have our topic determined yet for February 6th, but stay tuned. As always, you know where to find us. We do these on the Attention Token X account, and the spaces are always recorded, so you can go back and listen to the playback later. Okay, this is exciting. All right, so you all know all about the Brave Games at this point. We've been talking about it nonstop. We've had Angel on a few times, Angel from Fanon, who is designing the game infrastructure. Next week, in lieu of the regular Tuesday Back community call, at the same time, we are going to be hosting an event on X Spaces in particular. So basically, this call, same time slot, but on X Spaces. And it's going to be with the three leaders of the three factions that make up the Brave Games. So we're going to have Brendan Ike from Brave, we're going to have Charles Hoskinson from Midnight, and we will have John Linden from Mythical Games. I think it's going to be a great discussion. It's very rare that we get these folks in one room together for a live fireside chat. So you're definitely going to want to make it if you can. Luke will be hosting as he does the regular community call. Are you excited, Luke?
Yeah, I'm super excited. And it'll be cool to I think Angel will be there to talk about the gameplay too, so folks can kind of get up to speed on what the game's all about. And then we'll have each of the CEOs talking, and it'll be good.
Totally. Yes. And then we'll have the community team will also be there. So if you have questions while the event is taking place, you can put them in the thread beneath the space, and we can feed the questions to Luke, who can read them aloud. So that's how we'll handle that. Really exciting. Hope you can make it. It'll of course be recorded if you can't, but it's going to be great. And actually, same day. Let's move to the next slide. Oh, hang on. So hope you guys like the graphics that we made with Brendan, John, and Charles in the Brave Games hoodies. Anyway, we'll be announcing this space soon on X, so you'll be able to save the date and set a reminder to make sure that you don't miss it. And additionally, same day, 27th, we will have the official Brave Games blog post going out. So that will have complete information for everything you need to know with regards to the Brave Games. It'll link out to relevant FAQs. It'll have the link to go pre-register and sign up. All of that will be in the blog post, which is coming out the same day. So just wanted to highlight that. And also mention that earlier today, the community team and Angel met with all of the faction leads, aka team leads, and KOLs that will be participating in the Brave Games. And some of our ambassadors who are on the call here were present. So I just want to shout you all out and say thank you for attending. It was a pretty info-heavy call, but I think it got everybody pretty worked up and excited. And Team Brave is excited to take everyone else down. So we'll leave it there for now. Okay, Drew, over to you.
Yeah, real quick. Like Jenny mentioned, a lot of stuff going on with the Brave Games. So super excited for that. And next week's call with Brendan, Charles, and I think John should be a good one. And then just been working on some updates on the RPP, and so we should have another update on that here soon. And then new ATH on staking. That's at 438K and 880 stakers. And despite the markets, being in the dumps at the moment. Anyways, and then also we just set up a new account for Guano on X just to kind of get updates and stuff out there. It's called it's at Guano Cave. So those are kind of main things we got going on. Looking forward to the games and everything else going on, and should be fun. We'll see you guys there.
Hello everyone, Liam here, doing an Echo update. Working on it very hard. With the help of Moonbeamer, we have achieved many collaborators for this upcoming issue. First confirmed one is Methana, and they will be providing the first article. I've also created these little cute characters that will be throughout the magazine. And right now, this is what I can show. Excited about this upcoming issue, and it will be again about Edufy. Next slide, please. Off the Record with Bat, another episode coming on this Thursday, every Thursday at 1 p.m. EST, 6 p.m. GMT. And this week we're covering Zero Knowledge, Know Your Customer. And the past video got 8 comments, so it seems that we're getting some traction and some engagement from the videos, regardless of the amount of views. The one from past week had already 2 comments on them on YouTube, so that's very exciting, and they're all very positive. So excited to see how this podcast grows. Not a podcast, but how this show grows. Next slide, please. And the last thing from my end is that the VAT community has surpassed the 30,000 mark. We have over 30,000 followers on the VAT community count, and I don't know what the next goal would be, maybe 50,000, but excited to see this count grow, these and many others. But yeah, thank
So
you.
cool.
Guillermo Way.
Short and sweet for us today. Thank you.
No problem. No problem. Yeah, super excited for what we've got coming for the Brave Games, for the call next week. And also, yeah, we've got a podcast drop this week with, or last week with some of the in-person ones we did in New York. We also have a special episode that's launching tomorrow. Since you all are on the community, it's with I'll give you guys the alpha with Charles Hoskinson episodes dropping tomorrow. So that one ended up being twice as long as our normal ones did, but really got into the weeds on what they're trying to do with Midnight, among other things. And I think it'll be interesting for folks to tune into. So keep an eye out for that one. Yeah, I think I know Suraj is here, man. Like, how are you doing, Suraj?
Doing good. I'm doing great. Yeah, working on some interesting projects, but all good.
Yeah, I wanted to see what were the responses like? I know last week we basically in the call we were sending people to your tweet about the wallet program, and as kind of I think the community would be interested in hearing how the responses were.
Oh, absolutely. So I think the post did really well. We got more than 40,000 views, which is awesome. And I got, I think, more than 100 comments. So I think I think at this pace, we should be able to, reach the Q1 goals, which is to get more than 100 testers for the nightly program. I think we can get there, not a problem. I have also been trying to get people to follow the nightly account on X,
Nice.
and I think we should probably make more posts on community.brave, so people would know like what exactly they should be looking for. And some people were also kind of confused about what nightly was and what Brave beta was. So maybe I should make a post on that.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely. And then yeah, I have been looking into like other internal documents, like to I suppose there are some gaps, but I think I should be able to fix them soon. But yeah, I mean the responses have been great, like more than what I imagined, right? Like this was amazing.
That's fantastic. No, it's great to hear. Because yeah, and I spoke with James on Friday too, and I think that one of those first ones that we can put a call to action out for is Near Intense basically landed in nightly too last week, I think. So we'll be that'll be one of the ones we put a call for testers out to help us out with.
Yeah. Again, I'm super excited for where we can get this program. Yeah, I'm also excited about like different things that we can integrate with Zcash and things like that. I suppose we can discuss that later in detail.
Yeah, I mean, where's your mind at with it? Because I think like you were really involved too, like on the privacy side of things beforehand, and I know that like you've been taking. I guess we could kind of share too, like so Suraj kind of started working with us back in mid-December. and during the holidays did a bunch of work in there. I don't know if if you feel like talking to folks about like some of the stuff you've been looking at on the Zcash side and where your head is at with where we can, go forward with that based on what you're seeing and just thoughts from looking at things.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just to give some context for folks who might not be following me much on X. There are a couple of very interesting research areas that I have been working on for the last few years, like differential privacy, zero knowledge proofs, and I used to closely work with this research scientist from MIT. Me and Maras, we used to do a lot of interesting things. And I got introduced to Zcash a few years ago, right? So I have been looking into a lot of things, and at the time I did perform a security audit of Zashi, their Android app, and I reported a bunch of issues back then, and I'm sure Josh is probably also aware of the issues that I found, and they fixed it. It was great, and I was wondering, if there might be some interesting things that can be done with the Brave wallet, because I'm kind of familiar with the ecosystem, right? So last December, I had the chance to do a bunch of security audits with, our Brave wallet, and I'm sure the developers have already started working on it. I have seen a lot of new issues being created in these repos, and I know there were some PRs already merged with the main repos, which is also good, which means we should be able to see the updates real soon. I think it's probably already, like, some of them are on the stable version. If not, they are in nightly right now, and we should be able to see them very, very soon. But we are trying to do real quality work here, right? Because one thing that I have been observing with the Zcash community is there is a void in the Zcash ecosystem right now, which is Zashi might be gone. And if we can work fast, and if we can bring in all the features that the users want, that void can be filled by Brave Wallet, which means we can, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of users might switch to Brave Wallet just to use Zcash. And we already, I think, if I'm not wrong, we already released Zcash Shielded on Brave Wallet, I think mid 2025, 2024.
Yeah, around May, I think.
Yeah. So, I mean, we are going in the right direction, right? So if we are saying we are a browser with privacy by default, which means, if we, put ourselves in the right place with the crypto space also, then I think, we should be able to acquire a lot of new users as well. And generally speaking, the Zcash community loves Brave because, we are doing some real good work. So I'm very excited about the space, and I'm also, trying to, trying to integrate myself into like different conferences. I'm also reading more papers, so we'll see if we can do some interesting stuff. But yeah, I'm very excited.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the interesting things too that you mentioned around like with and I know we're talking a lot about like Zcash on the back community call, but I think like one thing to think about here is that like you've got all these people, like 107 million that are on Brave and are getting like a good privacy, a private web, right? Like and I think like when you think about Zcash in that context, it's like you want to be able to have the ability to transact, privately too. And these things have kind of lived in isolation, and with privacy becoming more popular, but also with crypto becoming more popular, there's a real risk like of people actually like crypto being used kind of against people as a better way to like track them more persistently. And I think that like, you know, the potential for us and one of those things that can kind of tie this together well are things like near intents, where, you know, if we can get a bat liquidity going on near intents, Zcash also has liquidity there. You can start to have the ability to kind of like bridge and swap and have access to other assets that that can be part of that private transaction process that have typically not been linked that way. And so super excited to see where this goes. And Suraj, dude, I really appreciate like how outgoing you've been on everything. I mean, like, you know, what he's talking about is like a fraction of the stuff he's been doing like since we started working together. He did a bunch of like security audits too, and has been doing a bunch of research and also reaching out in interviews with users. And I think that'll be, you know, a big area we focus on too, is getting more users, feedback from lead users, from ambassadors, from people in Nightly. And so, yeah, I really appreciate all the hard work so far, and I'm excited to see where we go with this for the year. So thanks, Suraj. Appreciate it. I don't know if anybody has any questions about or feedback or like ideas around this. Since Suraj is here too, like if you guys want to surface those, maybe like Suraj can give you his take, or we can discuss them. Love to open up the floor for that. If anybody has any questions, or just wants to, yeah. Hello, me. Me would like to participate. Me can participate.
Are they talking about the testing program? Yeah, if you can add a comment in my post, that would be great. So it helps me track all the users from there, I think.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I know there's a user, me, that has a hand up. Yeah, I think you're on mute. You're gonna have to unmute if you're asking a question. Or maybe somebody misfired or something. Anyway, if anybody else has any questions, feel free to raise a hand, or it can be in chat. Knife Fighter 5 says, "Can I suggest something about a future Brave collab?" Absolutely, collaboration list. Yeah, please do. You can do it on. Okay. So my personal suggestion is that I've wanted Brave to collaborate with Fetch and MoneyLion to be on the Brave reward menu. Using it for 2 years. Fetch and MoneyLion are both app sources, pretty much reliable. Fetch was featured during the Super Bowl, and MoneyLion just cooperated with Mr. Beast. Cool. No, it's MoneyLion's an interesting, interesting kind of like collab potential, like on the branding front too. Awesome. I can open up the floor too to anybody else that has any other questions, like if anybody has any. Lukash.
Yes, I have a question.
Yeah.
You know, I was thinking because the Brave wallet itself, you know, it allows users to transfer money, you know, using different networks. We have EVMs, SVMs, right? We have Zcash, Cardano. But has anybody, you know, within the Brave developers ever thought about introducing Tron?
It's been a discussion point, and we've even reached out to them before. It's kind of as a thing where it involves the network integration. So yeah, I mean, we consider it, but discussions on getting something like that funded haven't gotten very far.
So Tron is
We're
not
open
that
to
easy
it.
to acquire then.
We're open to the discussion, like with them.
Okay.
Can I add something to Tron Network? I've been using it for over 5 years.
Cool.
It's nice, it's cool, but within the last 2 years or so, it's almost unusable anymore for normal standard humans, because you need to like log in $5,000 to use it for free, and if you don't log in, it's very expensive these days. And it's an electoral system where you have this governance body of 27 elected bodies that can propose stuff. And they are also in charge of fees and how much it would be and all of that. There are big names in there, but they didn't change a lot over the last 2 years. So one of the reasons I moved fully away from them. I loved it. I used it a lot because it's that instant. When you send, it's already there. That second you send, it's already there. It's finished. Amazing. But yeah, for the cost reason, I don't see potential in it future-wise if there's more and more users coming in. The issue is it's a bandwidth and energy system like Dash, right? No, Ada, Cardano. They also have bandwidth and memory, I think it's called, and RAM. They are the same system. The issue is both energy and bandwidth are capped. There's only that much. So with every new user, that bandwidth gets thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner. And the council needs to adjust the pricing of its transaction, but they haven't done so in a while. Maybe they do in the future, but it still remains the issue that you're locked in Tron will have less and less and less bandwidth behind them. So yeah.
Interesting.
It's a bit of a tricky system. Maybe they fix it somewhere, but for now it's a bit of an But hey, it's a cool integration. So,
yeah, I mean the integrations are we're pretty at the moment. There's like a lot of work in queue on integration stuff that the team's working on now. So it would have to be something pretty substantial. I don't know, Kyle. It looked like you were going to chime in too. I don't know if you have any thoughts too.
Yeah, what I was going to say is I saw that MetaMask just launched Tron, and one of the things that we're looking at to try and speed these integrations up is to utilize MetaMask snaps. So I believe if they did this through MetaMask snaps, which is why they designed it, was to make these integrations easier for them as well, we would be able to just load in the snap and then be able to use it in that sort of way. So should be an easy integration for us if that works. And then it just comes down to whether or not the user chooses to use it from a cost perspective.
How does that work with snaps?
So they've effectively isolated the entire like JavaScript part of the execution code. So like if you think about a wallet, it's essentially keys and then transaction encoding on top and then UI that's layered above that. So the key management and the transaction encoding for us happens inside the browser process, but for them it happens inside of their extension itself. So they went and built this entire isolation system inside JavaScript to be able to isolate these different parts from each other. And that was called LavaMoat. And so they've built this JavaScript isolation system, and then with that isolation system, they can now load in plugins directly into the wallet, and that's what a snap is effectively. So what we're doing is we're making it easier for us to be able to utilize that snap plugin that they have by shifting stuff around underneath the hood for us.
Awesome. No, that's helpful. Super interesting stuff. And yeah, I think it'll help give users a lot of choice and control and stuff like that, like you're saying.
Yeah.
Cool. I saw in chat, I think Harald had some notes, or he shared a link to the repo, and he was here last week too, right? Like talking about what they were working on, and we also spoke on the phone. You said you mentioned you wanted to say a few words, so feel free to chime in. Yeah, Harold.
Yeah. Hi. Hello, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah. Thanks, Luke. We had a very nice talk last Friday about the other thing that I don't want to mention here. So this is it's really a hard project that I'm working on here. It's something that I had in mind last year. It is about using AI to not read bad words, what you usually read in the news. Yeah, and I was thinking about an idea to make it happen, potentially like a kind of ad blocker. So you open your favorite news page, CNN, BBC, whatsoever, and you don't see what they are trying to put in your head. You just see a sort of a neutral version of the news. And even if you click on an article or you get an article via a link, you have a kind of a soft filter before you really enter the article. And I created this stuff now. It's using a local LLM here on my Mac Mini for the AI. So the AI is super, super simple. The web plugin, I just try to port it to v3, so it should be working on any browser, and it's working extraordinarily good. If you just have a look here, everybody who wants to have a look on this, if you go to the BBC site, some articles are rated with 80%, 90%, and you should not even click on these articles. Yeah, trade professional editors are using words in a way they shouldn't use words in this way, and you should potentially seek some other source clicking on these. And it doesn't matter. It's not what we are not doing here is seeking truth. We are just trying to find out if they are using dark patterns like clickbait or like persuasive stuff and so on. What I'm looking for is somebody helping me with this project. And I'm also looking some sponsor that is outside the European Union where we can have a bit of AI. So we don't need that much of AI, but I would at least love to have the 500 major networks from the US and from the EU running somewhere on server on the EU. The project is total open source. So for Brave, I intentionally made a v3 plugin. So there's plenty of space. Click on here if you want even a browser that respects your privacy. Yeah. So just mail me. I'm on GitHub with my name. I'm also an X with my name. And let's make this great. We have one major election in the UK. We have 5 major elections in Germany, and I hope to make my share to just make them a bit more neutral. No? Thanks.
Cool. I see Kyle had a hand up too.
Yeah, this is actually really interesting. I'm going to have to dig into it. I was curious, have you looked at doing this at all for X? One of the ideas I've had for quite a while but never been able to sit down, and I think your project would be able to approach this very easily, is to be able to utilize the same thing to be able to do client-side filtering of X posts, such that you could basically scan it, and then like if the user types in, I don't want to see any topics related to politics today, because maybe you're tired of seeing politics or it's quite busy, then it'll just basically build a filter client-side for you over that. Have you looked at all at that, or are you specifically looking at just doing bias ratings?
I started with the bias ratings because the source for this articles is an RSS feed. So I'm basically proxying RSS and enhancing RSS because it's XML. You can have your own namespace and so on. And this is why it's sort of universal. However, for RSS, there are projects out that uses a Chrome browser, a headless Chrome browser, Puppeteer, that can make from any web page an RSS feed. It is not really real time. And I'm at the moment with my Mac Mini, I'm at the level of 3 to 5 seconds to run the AI on this. So it's not possible to run it on real time, but of course, we can mess with the HTML in X. Yeah. So if you have certain keywords, we can mess around with them. What I'm really looking forward, I have a PhD thesis. A friend of mine made her PhD thesis about 10 years ago in Berlin about trend mining. So what I'm working on next week is a possibility to, for example, if you are only on CNN.com, you never get every topic that is covered on Fox, yeah, and vice versa. And since I'm parsing the items of their RSS feeds, I can detect trends And there are super cool databases like the DuckDB database with certain tools inside, where you then can see what kind of topics are discussed in bubble A, in bubble B, and what are their blind spots. And I'm just imagine you go to bbc.com, open a new tab, and then you see what blind spots you are not even getting presented, what you are missing out, what is also maybe in your country or maybe on the planet what is discussed. I think this is much more valuable to show people in a very nice way, look, they're using bad language, and you are missing out on certain things that are maybe interesting for you, but you are not even open to tell them because they are not presented to you. Just a political topic, just dropping this out is much simpler. You can do this with, I think, with keywords, but it's not. It won't be that accurate as with running every article through an AI, of course. And this is not possible in real time, but it will. I'm 100% sure that next year or in 2 years we will have this in real time. My biggest dream is to have this in real time on the live video news feeds, and we will be there on the video.
Okay, I'll keep an eye on it, and I'll share it around with other people I've been talking with on the research team about this idea. They may be of interest. So.
Thank you. Yeah.
Excellent. Dragon Dave.
Is it cool to throw a follow-up on this one?
Absolutely. That's what we're here for, bud.
So, Harald, question, like there was a discussion years ago, like not too long ago, like 3, 4, 5 years ago, with Google adding the summarizer to the search. And now also Leo having that and all other browsers having that. That summarizer taking off traffic from websites like, for example, the BBC News website. Because a user just searches for something like war in Gaza, and the AI in this case already neatly summarizes everything to one package. Your system would do effectively the same thing, right? Taking off traffic from news sites. I mean, not that I am a fighter for all of that, but I do understand they need traffic. Like they serve ads, they earn from that, they earn from subscriptions. Any ideas for that?
Yes, I have no problem, absolutely no ideological problem if a trained professional is using bad words, bad dark patterns to convince me before I even click on an article to think in a certain direction. Yeah, I'm not a child. I don't need education. I just want, if I want to inform myself on the news, I want to have Clark Kent level, neutral editor, plain facts, not colored in any direction, not a political perception, nothing. Just tell me as it is. And then I use my own brain to come up with my own idea. Yeah? If this is taking from a certain editor traffic of the website and this person gets a problem, I have no, really, I found out certain people who are always getting flagged red in the system that I invented, and I have no problem if this traffic is going away. Just write facts, not about what you think. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think, yeah, it's an interesting topic. I think Guillermo mentioned he had it on his Off the Record Bat episode too. Like I was talking to some people about this too. Like there's a lot of well, I think the upcoming roadmap kind of will touch on this a little bit as far as like addressing some of this traffic loss, but it also kind of is like not necessarily, I mean, the AI is definitely disrupting it, right? Like, but a lot of it too is that just like it's ad blocking, how ad blocking kind of like cleaned up the experience for users. I think that like a lot of publishers have been kind of racing towards clickbait as the norm, or a lot of the quality around content, or whether it's kind of just articles to get people to jump in, or catch someone's eye or whatever, or putting things between the user and what they want to get. It's kind of these patterns are almost like answers to how you can get easier information that you actually would rather get, or might have used to get directly before a lot of this too. So I think AI gets a lot of a blame on this, but I think we got to look at like a little bit around how it's been like a 10-year plus kind of decline in quality on these things too, and hopefully a lot of this forces publishers to raise the bar a little bit, but also the way that people are getting their media is changing too. So you're seeing like summarized articles, but then a lot more video content, etc. So it's just an interesting time. Anybody let's see here. Anybody have any other questions or want to talk about anything? Well, it's streamed, Dragon Dave. So I think it's like out there. Suraj, you have a chime in, bud.
Yeah, I mean, not exactly a question, but something to add to the conversation. Let's say we want to add a new feature to the product, right? I would probably ask a couple of questions in terms of, let's say, if we are going by first principles, right? So I think someone was asking if we can integrate Tron to Brave Wallet. So I mean, the couple of things I would ask is, what kind of problem are we trying to solve? One, how privacy respecting it can be. If we are connecting to a new network, it's not an easy task. One, are the resources being aligned with our core mission? Those are some interesting questions that we need to ask, right? And if we do this, are we increasing the attack surface for Brave Wallet? Because when it comes to Brave Wallet, yeah, of course, being a user-first company, we want users to have a choice to choose whatever crypto they want to use. But at the same time, we have to be as secure and private as possible, unlike Coinbase. And we are also open source, which means we want people to see what exactly we are doing, right? And the other thing is, what could be the potential trust model if we are connecting to such networks, right? I don't know, there's just too many questions that need to be answered first. I mean, I understand like it can have some advantages, but the question should be like, okay, so maybe we don't have these features right now with Brave Wallet, or can we have a workaround with already existing networks, right? All I'm saying is we kind of have to optimize our resources before trying to integrate anything or trying to introduce any other features. I mean, testing is one thing, but these are the questions I would probably ask, before, let's say, suggesting a new feature. But again, I appreciate all kinds of feedback, but I hope that was helpful.
No, it is. And I think it also kind of speaks to some of what Kyle was talking about earlier too, where shifts in approach, like if we move forward towards this new solution that involves letting, user, like integrating snaps, and whatever we get from that integration gets passed to our users and gets them the choice to kind of switch networks too. Because I think for a while, like the space is evolving where like, and so is our product, right? Like when we first launched the wallet, it had ETH L1 support, and that was kind of it. And then you would see kind of, demand surface from different communities and for getting different networks. And then, at the same time, like ETH is kind of scaling up with L2s. So there's a lot of, demand on those things. And then, now we're at a phase where like we have a lot of support for a lot of different networks, but we also learn along the way too that like when you want to add a network, there's a lot of baggage that comes with that, right? Like and different networks
Exactly.
are starting to specialize with different things, right? So like, okay, you might think about it. Our team would think about it like, okay, well, we're going to get the network supported, and then the community starts to say, okay, well, what about our NFTs? What about our, this and that and the other thing? And then, there's all this like creep that happens from it because you're adding like a whole, essentially you're adding like support for an ecosystem. So then there's like kind of ways that's got to communicate it along the way, all of that. So I think that like having ways, like we saw this also not just with networks but also with on-ramps, right? So like we used to have to like directly integrate every on-ramp that we wanted support for, but then we went through like a service like Meld where they're aggregating different on and off ramps into the wallet and like can kind of organize those in different ways. And because we found along the way that, hey, like sometimes things like regional support vary with how well they're supported by different vendors and different pricing points and stuff. And we're a great aggregator of things, as a browser and search engine. These solutions weren't always around. So I think it's an important part of the strategy is to kind of like iterate and evolve with the space too, which is great. I mean, like, because if we can do something like implement the Snaps thing, and then if there's a network people have been wanting to, use in Brave Wallet, they can do it. It's almost like bring your own model, kind of like ease of use, for network support, because for us, it's like so much lift to integrate a network because of how the browser wallet is implemented that it's just like you just end up hitting these resource constraints. So I think this new approach that Kyle's talking about is going to help with that a lot. And it'll freeze up resources to like, we need to be focusing on like how to make this stuff easy for everybody to use, right? Like, and how to kind of like break through that like wall of like, okay, my crypto wallet's over here and everything else is over there. And, I don't know, like we've been in this space for a decade now. And like, this should be a lot easier. And payment tech has innovated to become pretty darn easy. So if we can bring that ease of use with privacy, it's like you got private web, private transacting all in one place, easy enough for your neighbor to use. We're good. Give them rewards, integrate that across the board. That's the yummy stuff, So yeah, I think that's good. It's good feedback. We'll open it up to anybody else that wants to chime in too, or if anybody has any questions. Or we can wrap up early too, if folks want to get some time back. Up to you guys. Can you just emulate the extension host within the wallet? What do you think about that, Kyle?
I'm not sure what you mean by emulate the extension host.
Yeah, maybe you could add some color. Harold.
So here's the idea. If you know that a certain extension is a third-party wallet, why not emulate for this extension in your own host an isolated bubble, being an extension host, and just allow this extension to run more closer to your own wallet that is closed source in the browser. You can work with signatures there. Maybe that's a solution.
So I see what you're saying now. The trouble is that we have a very unique architecture. Every other extension is going to just be JavaScript, and they're going to run stuff themselves. Essentially, what we'd have to do in order to achieve that is basically go in and inject a bunch of JavaScript from the browser process into their extension and start tampering with it. But then we'd have to detect when the user actually wants to be using somebody else's wallet versus using our implementation of somebody else's wallet. There's also legal aspects that come into play here. So if you look at like MetaMask's license, for example, reuse of their code requires payment. It's open source, but it's not commercially available. So you can't reuse their code if you're making money on it. This is their way that they protect their swap fees that they generate. So I mean, that's the other piece that comes into play here too, which is like, how are you generating revenue based upon these types of things? Most wallets, the way that they operate is basically integrate features, do different sorts of partnerships and these sorts of things to be able to generate revenue based upon it. And then there's a lot of competition that exists in that sort of way. And so in that sort of sense, like if you're doing it in such a way that you're integrating somebody else's wallet, first of all, you don't control the UX. Second of all, you're probably handing off to their integration partnership and doing it in some sort of way that like you don't really gain any sort of benefit by having the user working directly within it. Plus you're talking to their backend services unless you're standing up your own backend services. So basically you end up just reinventing a wallet by doing it in that sort of way. So that's why it was easier for us to actually just go and fully build the wallet ourselves. We just made some architectural decisions that at the time made the most sense, but in seeing kind of the path after integrating multiple networks, we've learned that there's some easier ways to achieve this.
Awesome. Anybody else? We got 9 minutes, or we can wrap up early. It's up to you guys.
I just have a clarifying question. What is the use case we are trying to solve with the extension?
Do you mean like for the wallet integration, or was that for Harlem?
Yeah, the one Harold was asking, I think.
I think it was around getting additional network support.
Yeah, the extension host within the wallet.
Yeah, my understanding was it was about trying to offer a suggestion of how we could integrate networks faster, such as Tron.
Oh, okay.
But
I
do so in
see.
an easy way.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you.
Suraj, just kind of curious too, like, because I know you've been doing a lot of looking at the different options and features and stuff with some of these different privacy wallets that are out there. Like, just your own take. Like, what's something you'd love to see us integrate into Brave Wallet that we don't have that you think would be super helpful from what you've seen so far?
Absolutely. So one thing I have been thinking about all the time was network level privacy, right? So for example, if someone is making a Zcash shielded transaction, it's completely private, but the privacy is only for the on-chain stuff, right? Everything on-chain is completely private, zero knowledge, no one knows, whatever, right? But what happens to the network level privacy? Like for example, the IP could be potentially exposed. I mean, we don't really know who the attacker is, which means if we can have a Tor integration inside Brave Wallet, I think that's something that we should probably add to the roadmap going forward. I mean, we already have Tor integration, right? But I think it has to happen on like for every transaction, especially for something like Zcash shielded. And maybe we should also let the users know that this is what they can expect, right? So if they are making a Zcash shielded transaction right now, this is the level of privacy you get, and these are the artifacts that could be potentially exposed when you're doing something like this. That's one thing. And the other thing would be something like, I don't know, I'm not too excited about this, but some users have been asking if we can have rotating transparent address in Zcash. I mean, that's okay, right? But I don't know. It's not a huge privacy benefit. I see why they are saying it, but again, the most important feature that comes in my mind is adding Tor inside Brave Wallet. Yeah, Kyle, go ahead.
I think we do have rotating addresses. I'd have to double check. I know we have it for Bitcoin, and I was thinking we reused some of their stuff.
I remember that too for Zcash.
Yeah, I'd have to go back and look at it. There's a dev panel that might be able to give me the information I need real quick. Dev Zcash. Nope, that one, we pulled it out. Okay, that's good that we pulled it out. Yeah, need to go back and check that. The other thing worth mentioning too is that the IP address right now, we do provide network level privacy by proxying. So if you're ever talking to a third-party RPC service through our wallet, we'll actually proxy it on your behalf. That's when it's our wallet talking to a third-party by default RPC service. So for example, if you're adding in a layer 2 connection from the chain list or something like that, it will talk to a different RPC service. So that at least gets us some IP protection, but it's still a trust me bro solution, which I don't really like. The other idea I've thought about for network level privacy is oblivious HTTPS, because you don't make a trade-off on bandwidth and latency, which you typically encounter from the Tor side of things. So I don't know if you've seen the Tor integration in Zashi, but like just pulling the value amount of your account ends up taking a little bit, because it takes a while to run it over the Tor network, depending on how it's routing through Tor and stuff like that. So this is where like we run into these weird sort of trade-offs here. And like our solution now is a very simple one, but it's not perfect. You know, the other idea that we could do is running the VPN over it and stuff like that. So you're still achieving herd level privacy and protecting the IP address so that it's not being linked to the wallet address in some sort of way. But there are improvements we could certainly make here, but we're at least trying to meet the minimum bar right now that it doesn't seem like many other wallets are doing, and we've never really advertised.
I just saw a message in the chat. I think someone is mentioning Zcash shielded could be an overkill. I mean, all we want to do is give a choice to the users. You can use shielded if you want, but you know, when it comes to implementation, we want to do our best. I mean, you're open to use anything you want. You can use transparent transactions also.
Sorry, that was more like on the rotation of addresses.
Right. Again, I see what you're saying, but okay, fair enough.
I think it's one of those things where when we do it, it's got to be like super clear to users that the address is going to change. Because I think like I know that's where I hit a bump in the road when I was testing it too. It was that I hadn't anticipated that it would be there, and I had assumed that just like all of my other addresses, it would remain static. And I think I forgot to, I don't know, I don't remember, it was a while ago, but it was one of those things where you know, you build up enough expected behavior to where like if we're not communicating that in the UI somehow, that it might trip up some users that aren't as familiar with it. Though I mean, it gives you a benefit, right? Like, so the benefit's not good to lose sight of. It's just, I think, again, this is why we're doing testing programs and all this stuff, is so that we can kind of meet these ideas with the people that are actually, you know, interested in using them and figuring out where these gaps are, so we can help to make it better and better.
I mean, in an ideal environment, if you use an old address you already used, it's still your address, so it should still end up in your account. Like with Bitcoin Core Wallet, for example, if you generate a new account address every time, you still own the other 20, 40, whatever you used before. It's not gone.
Yeah, that's true. But at the same time, let's say you're okay, so here's the thing. So even if you use transparent address, but the transaction is going to a shielded, so for example, let's say you want to shop something, maybe there's an e-commerce website and they are accepting, let's say the QR code is shielded. Even then it gives you some layer of privacy. Even if, you know, like it's not a completely shielded transaction, it gives you some layer of privacy. I guess the point I'm trying to make is it's a spectrum. right? Like some people want, like, let's say level 1, some people want
I think
level
you're
2.
deviating off the rotation thing again.
Mhm.
It's like if you have 10 wallets rotating, 10 addresses rotating, and you forget that it's rotating, and send it to your old rotated address that you just used yesterday or whatever, it's still your address, so it will still end up in your account, just not on the current active address.
Might I throw out something entirely different here?
Absolutely.
I think we're completely wrong to expect users to have to manage addresses themselves.
I think you're completely right. I think it's like asking them to memorize their credit card number.
It's
Try addressing their memory.
My memory ain't what it used to be as an old fart, these days.
It's the UX of bank accounts where you need a bank account number. But if you look at the UX of like neobanks today, like Wise and Revolut, they're utilizing tag-based systems. We could be achieving the same thing with Web3 TLDs like .brave. And you can actually generate randomized stealth addresses that are one-time use, where I'm passing in, I'm contacting a service that's connected to my Web3 TLD, and the service is generating a one-time stealth address for the recipient or for the sender, so that they can send me payments, but as the recipient, they never actually receive an actual address. I've been talking with people about these sorts of ideas that we can do and stuff like this, and it's not cross-network compatible because different networks take different sort of architectural constraints and stuff like that. It's still very early days, but like that's kind of where my head's at with this, is like abstract this away from the user. They don't care. If we're really trying to get private payments here, that's how you have to do it.
That is what we call the way. And also, Kyle just effectively delivered the 3-point shot at the buzzer. By the way, folks, that's how it's done. For bringing up the .brave address idea. Like, I love it. With that, we're right at time too. So I think, remember next week we're going to do a special version of this call live from X Spaces with Brendan and Charles and the CEO of Mythical. So we'll be on that bat channel at the same time next week. But we'll be posting that out. And thank you everybody for joining today. We'll see you all online and see you all next week. Talk soon.
See you guys.
Bye.